Don Jr. gave a speech in Russia for $500,000. We know that Hillary Clinton had one of the non-votes that allowed 20% of the U.S. uranium rights to go there.
And those were all pursued and looked at.
We know that in the summer 2016, the people who knew about possible Russian interference in the election weren't at the Trump campaign. They were in the Obama White House. None other than President Obama, John Brennan. They were informed about this. What did they do? Nothing.
Well, they did the same thing the President of the United States now did. They wound up doing the same thing the current president did. They went to Putin. Obama went to Putin and said, stop it. And we guess one of the versions of what happened at the Putin-Trump meeting is that he said, I know you did it. Stop it. That's what Nikki Haley says. So they've done the same thing to this point.
Hey, Chris, don't you think that's a huge improvement, though, over Hillary Clinton having that G.I. Joe-looking plastic toy Russian reset button and handing it over as Secretary of State? Didn't you feel the least bit embarrassed?
I don't even know what that means.
To talk about Russia all the time? No, I think her idea of a Russian reset and President Trump sitting down with President Putin and trying to find how these two countries can work together is a very positive development.
On cybersecurity, you think working with Russia on cybersecurity of our election is a good idea?
No, here's what I think. I think these two men meeting for 2 hours and 15 minutes on any broad range of issues. Go read what Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who's doing an amazing job, said about that meeting. He sat in that meeting. He gave a full briefing afterwards. You can read the entire transcript of that briefing. I've internalized it. Read that. Let your viewers read it.
Well, we have it. It would have been nice to have an objective observer in there.
Have that.
It would have been nice to have an objective observer taking notes in there, like traditionally you do have.
Who would that have been? Who would that have been? Your colleague who, instead of covering a beautiful speech in Poland, called it fake news?
What are you talking about?
And then had to retract that, huh?
What are you talking about? We covered this speech.
In Poland.
We covered this speech. We gave it full voice. We gave it all different types of perspective. I don't understand why you believe that bashing CNN is going to help.
I'm not bashing CNN.
Oh, please. That's what you guys do is bad. I don't understand it. I mean, thank you for the ratings.
You want to talk about you?
Why do it?
Look. Hey, Chris, I'm on CNN right now. You want to talk about you.
And I appreciate that. It's not easy to get you here.
The media want to talk about you, and I want to talk about Americans. You know why I'm in the White House? I'm there to help the millions of Americans who couldn't keep their doctor, who couldn't keep their health care plan, who are struggling with opioid addiction, military spouses who are underemployed and unemployed. I'm there to watch people like Ivanka Trump, my colleague in the White House, lead the way for this country to invest $50 million for the World Bank to start a women's entrepreneurship investment fund. You didn't mention that in the last segment. You just tried to shiv her a little bit because she sat briefly at a table where her father, the President of the United States, had
Which was a very unusual thing to do, by the way.
Representative had done something that President Abe's no, it's not. And Angela Merkel
to have your daughter sit in for you, representing the United States
she's there as the senior advisor. You should be very proud she's representing the United States everywhere she goes because she, as I just said, but you won't cover, helped get the World Bank to commit this women's entrepreneurship initiative. That's going to help women. I was a female entrepreneur for decades. It's not easy, but it's worthwhile. But you don't want to cover that.
It's just not true.
You don't want to cover the tangible thing.
Premise.
It's not true?
It's not true.
It's not true that
we do not avoid positive stories about the president. You want the fact that we're covering the Russia investigation to mean we don't cover other things. It's not true. We spent 2 segments today talking to Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama, about what's going on with healthcare, what needs to happen. And then, only then, did we talk about the Russia stuff. So it's just not fair, not true, and I don't believe it could be helpful to the president. But I believe that you are, and having you on the show is helpful to our audience, and I appreciate it very much.
We appreciate the platform, Chris. But look, I think CNN, I'm not here to bash CNN. I don't do that as a matter of course. So be fair to me. Hold on. But take responsibility and recognize it as a 24/7 cable station. I have great faith that you can cover all of the above. Instead of covering the same thing every 5 seconds, hour after hour, why can't you connect veterans with the information they deserve? Why aren't you telling the veterans of this country, because of this president and Secretary Schultz of the VA, they now have a 24/7 hotline at the White House they can call. They are now seen as the same seamless patient through the DOD and the VA so that they don't have to go through all this nonsense red tape of decades that treats them as two different patients. Why don't you tell them about the VA Accountability and Whistleblower Protection Act? Why don't you tell them about the Veterans Choice Act, that if you can't access quality, timely care as a veteran in this country through the VA, which most can, you can go access it through private care now. The president said when he was a candidate something that should animate everybody, including you, which is, if we don't take care of our veterans, who are we as a nation?
That's absolutely true.
Why don't you tell people what we're doing on healthcare, on jobs? 800,000 jobs created since this man took office. 220,000.
We talk about the jobs.
Okay,
we had the Veterans
CNN's
Secretary
done 220,000
on New Day.
stories on Russia. There's 220,000 jobs created in June. That's
we talked
fine,
about it when the jobs report came out.
I think we can cover all of the above.
We do, though.
Well,
we had the VA Secretary.
Have you seen these polls?
Listen,
that say that the country, Americans want the media to move on from Russia and cover things that actually affect them.
Look,
can you look the people in the eye that you grew up with in Astoria and I grew up with in South Jersey, the well-being,
she is totally owning him.
Can you tell them right now that you're telling them everything President Trump is doing for them? $100 million committed to the apprenticeship program so they can dignify all types of careers.
My conscience is clean. My mission is clear. What I do is I cover what I think matters to people. I test power and I take the consequences every damn day. And that's not going to change.
Cuss.
Thank you for helping us do that.
As do I. So
CNN cuss.
Very quickly. So if we were in court right now and you
I'm only trying to wrap you because your guys are saying you have to go, by the way, just so you know.
Hold on. If we were in court right now and you somehow survived the motion for summary judgment, the motion to dismiss.
Yeah, it's a different standard.
What exactly would be your first piece of evidence? No. What exactly would you produce as who's your first witness to the jury or the judge here? In this case, you're trying to make day in and day out. Because I still don't see the evidence.
Well, first of all, you shouldn't see the evidence because let's liken it to a grand jury investigation that's going on. We should wait for it to finish and see what they can bring out about it. That's what we should be doing.
You're not waiting for anything.
We take the information as we get it, but we can't know the full. We can't know the full scope of the investigation. See, and that's the point. This is the last point I'm going to make. Your people are saying you have to go. This is my point. The reason the Don Jr. story matters is because you guys have been beating down the notion that an investigation into whether or not Russia was trying to find its way into the campaign to affect this election is a non-starter. It's not worth looking at. It's ridiculous. But now we know it isn't, because Don Jr., at best reckoning to him and to his cause, just got potentially set up by a potential Russian operative to have a meeting. So it isn't an illegitimate question.
Wrong.
It isn't. It is by his own
I
reckoning.
completely.
That's what it is. He says that he took a meeting with someone who promised him information about it. But it was what he was promised, not the delivery on the promise. It's the solicitation that's the issue, legally, ethically, and common sense-wise. She said, this is what I have for you, and that's why he said he took the meeting. That's why they're investigating.
Chris, she had nothing. And let me tell you,
doesn't matter what she had, it's what she promised.
I've known who Hillary Clinton is and studied her, including the last couple months of the campaign when I was campaign manager. You know where I went to find damaging, negative information about Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton. It was like, she was like a walking loop of negative information.
Look, maybe so, but he still says he took a meeting with somebody who said she had bad information about the DNC and Hillary. He still took the meeting. He says he took the meeting on that basis. What it led to, whether he needed it, whether he could have won anyway, whether Hillary has plenty of other sources of bad information, all irrelevant.
You know he won because he won. You know she was a terrible candidate.
I have no problem with screaming and saying the legitimacy of the president. Donald Trump is the legitimate president of the United States.
And you know, he also
bring it up, not me.
He also won in part because of that meeting. He also won in part because of that meeting that did have consequence, the meeting between Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton.
That meeting mattered also. But you can't pick what you like and what you don't like. Unnamed sources that are
He just said Donald Trump is a legitimate president. That's a miracle.
And that's what we do. And you are a big part of helping us do it.
And you can't take a meeting that lasted 20 minutes, that is reported to have lasted 20 minutes and produced no information that was, we're told, mainly about Russian adoption, and spin that into some kind of tale and some type of evidentiary trail.
I don't see how that is at all what I'm doing. Don Jr. changed his story.
This is why the media,
Don Jr. says he met with her because she had bad information on Clinton.
Than Donald Trump or Melania Trump or Mike Pence. This is why.
He said it.
And look, he learned nothing from that meeting.
Doesn't matter what he learned. It matters why he took the meeting.
Yes, it does.
Nope.
Yes, it does. It matters completely.
It does not matter for the purposes of the investigation.
Yep.
They're looking into whether or not Russia was trying to get inside the election. He admits he took the meeting because someone was offering him that kind of information. It matters, period. It just does.
And when Americans think of Russia today, they're thinking of the conversation between the two presidents, not the lack of collusion that no one there or anywhere else has proven.
Well,
Okay,
maybe so. It doesn't mean the questions
It's just so
don't matter.
obvious.
It doesn't mean the questions don't matter. I know you're pressed for time. You're welcome back on the show whenever you want.
It doesn't mean you also can't cover
I cover it all.
And the fact that he has confidential information. I want you to tell Americans about health care because millions of people don't have it. They were lied to by the president.
Every day.
They're planning to get their doctor.
We're waiting on the CBO's score.
Where's infrastructure?
You tell me,
Where's
where is it?
the
Where's your infrastructure plan?
initiative?
Where's your tax policy plan? As soon as they come out, we'll discuss them.
You're kidding, right? Okay, we'll be back for that because the president already has this huge infrastructure initiative. What about
Battle
$20
over who's going to get the last word.
So that people who don't go to college can support themselves with a skills certificate and a high school diploma or a community college diploma.
It matters.
Why isn't this important?
Who's saying it isn't important?
It matters tremendously.
No one is saying it isn't important.
It's not as important as Russia. Listen, here's where you and I are different. You want to talk about Russia, I want to talk about America.
Yeah, I know, but there are also reasons for why you don't want to talk about Russia, and I do. It is my responsibility to cover things that matter to the American people, not just the things that are positive for the president. My job is not to curry favor.
What matters to the American people? What does CNN's polling say about what Americans care about? Do they care about jobs and the economy,
Americans care about themselves and
national
their
security?
families as they should. But often there are things going on in their lives and things that affect their lives that matter as well, and very often they're not aware of them. And that's
Like
where
a
the media
20-minute
comes in,
meeting that
and you
produced
know.
no information.
Listen.
I'm thinking somebody waiting in a jobs line right this second is wondering if he or she is going to get a job and health care and benefits.
Absolutely.
Not what was produced in a 20-minute meeting last
Doesn't
year.
mean it doesn't matter.
A year ago.
Just because somebody needs a job, and there's so many who do, just because people are worried about their kids and their education and the nature of character and leadership in their country,
healthcare,
all of these
national
things
security,
matter. They all
ISIS
matter.
infantry.
The president spends as much time tweeting about this stuff as he does anything else. I'll show you his thread right now. Guess what? It's not filled with ideas for new jobs. All right? He's on this stuff as
That's
well,
not
so
true.
it's not like
That
it's
is
all
not
us.
true.
You know, he drives the conversation.
Every time he's producing something like the apprenticeship investment, every time he went to the Department of Transportation very recently with Secretary Chow.
Here's his thread right now. Slamming de Blasio,
Okay,
Comey leaked, quoting Hannity. If Chelsea Clinton were asked to hold the seat, when I left the conference room, here's why Ivanka sat down. Congress should do health care. There's one. Comey classified information, all caps, based on unnamed sources. I thought you weren't allowed to do that, but it's okay. More Fox and Friends, more Fox and Friends. And then he goes into James Woods and the rest of his friends. Where's jobs? Where's health care? One tweet. Where's taxes? Where's his infrastructure? Nowhere in his own thread.
You know where the jobs are?
Okay?
You know where the jobs are?
Yes.
Almost everywhere. 800,000 created. The stock market loves this president.
And we
the
reported
economy is humming. Small business confidence. Well, I'll do it right now. Small business confidence. Home builders.
But I'm just saying, you're saying we don't care about these things. I just echoed the president's own tweet thread to you. Don't make it sound like we're hiding his priorities. He cares about these things also.
I'm sorry.
And he's invited on this show all the time to make his case to the American people.
Media.
Yeah, there are official statements from the President of the United States.
Name 3 things he talked about at the Department of Transportation when
I don't know, because he doesn't talk about them, and you guys don't come on to talk about it.
Yes, he did. Okay, I'll talk about it right now. The permitting process.
Your people say you have to go, by the way. So you make sure that the White House...
Hey, they've been battling now for at least 20 minutes.
Stop being so sensitive.
Well, I got people yelling at me in my ear that you have to go. See, that's the two faces of reality we get. You're saying I want to talk to you. I got people in my ear yelling, she's got to go. So go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Okay, great. So I want to talk to America for a moment.
Please.
This president and Secretary Chow at the Department of Transportation very recently did a couple amazing things to lessen this permitting process. We have these projects that take 8 years of the permitting process. They want to bring it down to 2 or 3 years. That's going to save billions of dollars and
He has to take a
we have an air
drink.
traffic system that was built when we had 100,000 passengers annually. We now have close to 1 billion. Can we not get any Democrats to say, hey, that's a good idea to enhance our safety and security and reduce our hassle on the tarmac and in airports? I traveled this country with Secretary Price and Governor Christie. I was just in Tennessee last Thursday again on the opioid crisis. This is a scourge of our times. No state has been spared, no demographic group untouched. You want to come along sometime and report on it? You want to go listen to the people?
We have a documentary coming out about this fall about the opioid crisis. The center in Manchester, New Hampshire, where the president was, the firefighters there still hoping for help that was promised during the campaign.
So you know what? The opioid, you want to talk about Russia, I want to talk about the opioid crisis.
We talked about it on the show. I have a documentary coming out this fall.
You know, he's baiting him into another argument.
Trump is leading. I want you to talk about ISIS in retreat. I want you to talk about the 10 bilateral meetings that the president had in this foreign trip and the 3 pull-asides. I mean, there's so much success. What about the speech in Poland that tells them you are survivors?
Yeah, might as well get some fancy close-up shots.
Your love of personal responsibility, your love of... I mean, this was just such a beautiful speech where the President of the United States appealed to people in Poland. We will stand with you. And then went to the G20s. Here for a couple of hours, practically a couple of days, he'll go back to Paris. And there's so many great things to cover. Please connect, listen, please connect America with the information they need. You're in a great position to tell veterans they've got help. They've got new hotlines. They have new ways to access care. You can tell people about the jobs that have been created, the fact that we're dignifying every type of work.
We do. And I'd like you to make your pitch to the American people. I'm happy you did. The opportunity is always here. The opportunity is always here. Hold on.
Tell whatever 6 versus 1 anti-Trump panel, we're sorry that we cut into their time.
Tell the American people something else while you're here. That they shouldn't believe all of the White House and the surrogates and your alt-right friends that want to destroy the responsible media. Tell them that they shouldn't listen to that.
Responsible media.
And that they should judge stories on their face. And that they shouldn't think that there's some type of agenda out to get the president on the behalf.
Okay, I know you're trying
He sounds like Mark Rubio there.
Trying to go viral.
Their pajamas are writing about us.
But I'm just saying, that matters too. Because you're saying I have a great opportunity.
We respect the First Amendment.
But you compromise my ability to reach people with information when you say that whatever you don't like is fake. That matters too, Kellyanne. If you're going to tell the American people what you think about
I've never used that
they
word.
should think that too. No, but many around you have. And you don't have to say the word without meaning the word and attacking CNN every time you don't like what they report. You know.
You're doing an infomercial now.
I'm doing an infomercial. What were you doing?
Back to whoever is supposed
what were you doing? Making your witness? What were you doing?
Oh, excuse me. It wasn't an infomercial. It was actually telling people information they should have about jobs and apprenticeships and healthcare.
And that's relevant information also. The media matters. We shouldn't disrespect each other. We should give each other the benefit of the doubt. And we should pay attention to everything. First of all, it's my show. This is what I do. I talk to the television, and if it's not me, then it's Allison talking.
It sounds like an infomercial.
But listen, I think we spent enough time on this stuff today.
We just asked you about the media. First Amendment, we of course believe and respect the First Amendment.
18 minutes
a great role
recorded.
In this country. You gotta treat this guy more fairly.
I know they were on 5 minutes at least before I started recording.
Looks, the furrowed brows, the rolling of the eyes from so many people on your panels, and you know it. You guys have made a business decision to be anti-Trump. Okay, the country.
And you guys have also made a decision. You've made a decision to be antagonistic towards the media, to lump us all together, to rally your followers, to think that we're bad people and attack us online and talk about
man.
and come and try and jump us and try to embarrass us.
Listen,
it comes out of friends from the White House all the time. I'm saying it all matters, that's all. It all matters. Yeah. Everyone can do better.
You don't want to have said that we rally people to attack. Okay, you don't want to have said that. I don't want this to be about me. I know you like to say the word I a lot. I'm a 24/7 Secret Service protectee. Not because it's fun or not because they flipped a coin.
And you know how I feel about that. And you know how I feel about that as your friend. And you know how I feel about that as your friend.
I know privately.
You know publicly also. I do nothing but show respect to you and I give you lots of time on the show. Yes, I do think that everybody can do better. I agree.
But look, this with a free press comes a fair press and a fully responsible press. And the rush to judgment, the fact that You go with one source on things and then have to retract it.
That is not how we do
Think
things,
about that.
by the way.
Think about
First of all,
how.
whatever CNN has done wrong, it has owned in a way that is a symbol for accountability for this country, by the way. It would be nice if everybody who's wrong
That was
handled
good.
it the way CNN did. I was very proud of what this organization did. I know a lot of
A
other
symbol
news
of
organizations and a lot of political
accountability.
wouldn't have done
It's
it.
the rush to judgment.
Okay?
It's the rush to be negative. Think about why it happened. That's all you need to do. It's the
All I
rush
know
to
is how it
judgment.
was
It's the
owned
presumptive
and how it was
negativity.
how it was owned and how it was handled is a model for accountability. Everybody should
Be
handle
more
it.
fair. Make your why aren't your panels more balanced? Why are there so many girls?
On this show, they're mostly
Oh
journalists.
man.
All right, we got Washington Examiner. We got
Let
everybody.
me
from
repeat
all
my
over the
question
place.
then.
Yes.
Yeah, they have to be more balanced. You need somebody who's reflecting
You're not going
the viewpoint and
to. If you
being
want
fair.
flattery, there's another channel that can give you that. We try and keep it straight. We go with both sides and we test the power.
Both sides. You hear that? Oh
We
wow.
have to get to a healthcare debate.
Okay.
You are welcome whenever you
Healthcare
want.
reform is coming.
Thank you for making time.
Take care.
You were awfully quiet.
I went to work
Oh,
out.
she got the last word.
I
Bye.
don't have time to
Take
work
care.
out, but I just
Oh
did.
man.
You know what? Hopefully a good conversation for you guys to hear. It was actually not that unlike conversations that we have off camera.
It was fascinating. It was fascinating. I mean, Kellyanne states her case quite plainly, the way she sees it, and obviously you tackled it as best as anybody ever could, and so.
Those are all real, and they are echoed out there. But look, I think the headline.
Former
this
Fox
won't be the headline.
lady here on the left.
There's no question that this has to be a
Forgot her
dynamic
name.
trying to do it better, because I don't think this is sustainable. I don't think that this
The overheated
this
vitriol.
hostility, and
Yeah.
not so much. Well, Kellyanne and I have known each other literally.
No, that was.
Well, he's still fired up. Look.
This idea that the media, if they're doing things that are critical of the president, is bad. That's bad. That is dangerous, and it's not helpful to the president. And I think that you got to be fair to the president. The president has to be fair to you. Both of them may sometimes fall short, but it's got to change.
Let's discuss it with our balanced panel.
It's got to
We
change.
have CNN
You heard it.
political analyst Ron Brown, CNN
Balanced panel discussion. Uh-oh.
CNN political analyst David Drucker, an associate editor and columnist.
All right,
for
look.
Fair Politics.
I think we know where this is gonna go.
David,
Micro shoot juggernaut. I'm out.
what?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff.